Hi everyone, I hope you're all well today. I get asked lots of questions about what to say when you're out socialising with friends or family and people are offering you drinks and people are surprised when you say you're not drinking. Quite often it can feel uncomfortable to explain that you have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol and you've decided to quit drinking for a time or for good. Quite often people don't want to admit, it feels uncomfortable to admit to having an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. There's something kind of really awkward and uncomfortable about that. And especially, I think, because, and certainly for me, by the time I got to the end of my drinking days, my self-confidence and my ability to judge things with a clear perspective had completely gone out the window. So I think quite often people's self-confidence is quite low by the time they decide to stop drinking. And because their self-confidence is low, their sense of shame is high, their paranoia is high, it becomes difficult to judge things objectively. And so initially, when we first stop drinking, it can feel like a really shameful secret to admit and to acknowledge to other people that we've had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. Now, from a position of perspective, in other words, several years down the line, I can look back at that and see how ridiculous it is. But in the moment when it was happening to me, it felt very real. And so when people are asking me questions about what to say and what to do, what to tell people when they stop drinking, this is a really big worry. This is a really big concern. And it's a genuine concern because it can feel like a real weight on your shoulders. What the hell am I going to tell people? And having that kind of question and that kind of weight on your shoulders can effectively provide a barrier to actually stopping drinking because it can seem too difficult to overcome. So there are lots and lots in this vlog. I'm going to give you lots of different examples of the types of things you can say to people to buy yourself some time when you first stop drinking, so you don't have to worry about what it is you're going to say to people when they're asking you if you want a drink, or even if they buy you a drink and put a drink in front of you. You can still say, no, sorry, I'm not drinking because ... I've got my list here as well to make sure I don't miss any. Now, you can come up with your own. The important thing is, when you're going into a situation with other people, when it's in your early days of being sober, you need to go prepared. So you need to have what you're going to say ready on the tip of your tongue. You need to have rehearsed it, and you need to go into these situations ready to just rattle off whatever you've rehearsed and to rattle it off confidently. And you'll be able to rattle it off confidently because you'll already have mentally rehearsed, or maybe you've even rehearsed out loud. So some of the things that people can say when they're being faced with any kind of peer pressure are, you can say something like, I'm on a health kick, I'm doing a cleanse, a detox cleanse, and for this week I'm not drinking any alcohol. You can simply say you're doing a fitness, you're on a fitness regime, you're on a fitness challenge, and part of that is a nutritional program, and you need to cut down on your calories and you can't drink alcohol. Maybe you've got a trainer, maybe you've got an instructor who's told you you need to cut down on calories, and that means cutting out on alcohol. So it could be part of a getting fit thing, it could be part of a nutritional thing. It could be that you've got a target of losing a certain amount of weight and you're not going to allow yourself, this is what you tell people, you're not going to allow yourself any alcohol until you've lost so many pounds, so many kilos. You can tell people that you're doing a sober challenge. You can tell people that you're, raising money for charity and you're going sober for a month. You can tell people you're on medication that doesn't allow you to drink. You can tell people that you've got an important meeting in the morning, or you're babysitting somebody's kids. You're doing something in the morning that requires you to be firing on all cylinders and to get a really good night's sleep. You can tell people that you're taking a break from alcohol because it's really been affecting your sleep, and you want to get back on track. You want to get healthy again. You can even tell people that you've got to drive somebody somewhere later. You can make up a story, make up an excuse, or give yourself a real commitment, a real driving commitment later on in the evening, so that you can actually tell people the truth and say, oh, I've got to give so-and-so a lift to such and such later on tonight. Yeah, I mean, you get the idea. You can come up with your own, but the important thing is you can have a range of excuses at the ready. And eventually, as you get further and further into your sober lifestyle, you do get to the point where you're so far removed from how you used to be when you were drinking that your confidence levels have risen. And when your confidence levels have risen, you get to the point where you actually don't feel too bad about saying, oh, I used to have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, because it's a used to, because it's something that happened in the past, and because you're okay now, it can feel much more comfortable saying, oh, I used to have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, or I had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, and it's just much more healthy for me to stay sober. Now, I have no problem at all telling that to people. In fact, I regularly, people ask me what I want to drink and I say, oh, no, I'm not drinking. And if anybody, it very rarely happens actually, but if anybody does say to me, oh, you're not going to have a vodka or oh, no, drinking today, especially from some of the people who might have come across me in my drinking days, might be surprised that I'm not drinking and might try and encourage me to have something. I'll just tell them, no, I had a bit of an unhealthy relationship with alcohol and I find it easier just to stay sober. But the people I come across don't tend to ask. They don't tend to push. They don't tend to pressure. But I do understand that when you first quit drinking, you might be surrounded by people who are drinkers, and that's been your routine and that's been your habit, and it can be tricky coming up with something to say that's going to keep everybody happy and that's going to help you to feel comfortable about what you're saying to them, comfortable with your excuses and your reasons. It's really important when you first stop drinking to make yourself feel as comfortable, as easy and as confident as possible, so you can come up with the excuses and the reasons and the justifications that work for you. And like I say, eventually you do get to the point where you're quite happy to openly tell people you've stopped drinking because you had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol and you find it's much, much healthier living life sober. And it's actually, I think I said this recently in another vlog, it's actually crazy that it feels so uncomfortable to say that we want to become healthy by stopping drinking. Because if it was anything else, if we were talking about cutting out sugar, if we were talking about stopping smoking to get healthy, if we were talking about cutting down on calories to get healthy, if we were talking about changing our lifestyle and becoming fitter and adopting a fitness routine or a fitness habit, none of these things would feel crazy or awkward or embarrassing. We wouldn't feel awkward about any of those things. Deciding to go vegetarian or become a vegan, we wouldn't feel awkward about that. We wouldn't feel awkward about saying, oh, I'm eating less meat. I'm looking after my health and my diet, and this is what I'm doing. This is what makes me feel healthier. So why isn't it okay for us to say, oh, I'm taking care of my health and I'm stopping drinking? So do let me know, what kind of reasons, justifications have you found helpful when you're telling people why you're not drinking? For more tips, advice, support and inspiration to help you stop drinking and live life happily sober, you can subscribe to my channel. I'll look forward to catching up with you very soon. And in the meantime, let's go get sober together.